Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. Looks like we have a guest over here as well. Let's see if we can get him in the frame there. There we go. That's Gato del Sol, named by my dad, or the Sun Cat. Maybe related to the Sun King, but not really intentionally there. Beatles reference there. But anyway, this video is going to be a pretty big update for my goals for Beatles Canadian records. And give a huge shout out here for my new friend Andre. He reached out to me in one of my videos when I was talking about just starting up to collect some Beatles Canadian records. And he has a great collection, and he lives in Canada. And he said he got some duplicates in his collection, and that he also will look out for things on my list for some at some record stores. So in return, he sent me a list of some U.S. albums he was looking for, different pressings, and some 45 picture sleeves. And then also send him my list of some Canadian 45s and albums that I was looking for. So been going to some record shows and to some record stores. So I found some things off his list, and he also went to a record store that had a lot of good original Beatles records for good prices, and he also had some duplicates in his collection that I bought off of him as well, and we did kind of like a little trade. So I shipped those off to him, and then these came in the mail not too long ago, and now I'll finally be able to get around to showing them. So again, thank you a lot to Andre. Everyone, give him a big thumbs up in the comments, and we're going to start off with the 45s that I got. Now these were some duplicates from his record collection, and these I think are pretty cool because you usually see these in the United States on either the VJ or the Tally label, but they're going to be on the good old yellow and orange Capitol swirl. So that's always really cool. And we're going to first start up with From Me to You and Thank You Girl. And now this one came out in 1963, and I believe there's a couple different variations of this 45, and it's all have to do with the credit right here. And I believe the Northern Songs credit is the rare version of this 45. I think there's a Northern Songs credit on both sides, and then one with just on one side, and both of them are pretty expensive and on the rare side. So again, not necessarily a must-have for me for what I'm looking for. I'm just looking to have a version of one of these original 45s in my collection. But if anytime any one of those comes across, I'll definitely look to pick it up if it's for a good price. But this came out in 1963, so pretty early Beatles right there in North America. Next up, we got Twist and Shout, and There's a Place. This one came out in 1964, and there is kind of a closer look at it right there. And again, I think these are pretty cool to see on the orange and yellow Capitol swirl. And then I got one more 45 I was pretty excited to get. I think this is a tougher one to get, and this also came out in 1964. I think these are still part of the 6000 series for the LP, and these are like the singles from those series, if I'm doing my research correctly. But this is the Do You Want to Know a Secret with Thank You Girl. And then I also kind of found it interesting that they had Thank You Girl on From Me to You, and on that one as well. I know the US one, VJ, there's like they kind of mixed up songs as well. But I think that's pretty cool, again, to see on the Capitol label there. So those were nice to add to the collection, nice early Canadian singles. And then Andre was also generous enough to throw in a few freebies to upgrade the ones that I already had. So he threw in a We Can Work It Out, and the one that I did upgrade was Can't Buy Me Love. So since he passed these along to me for no extra charge or anything like that. I already have these two in my collection. I want to find someone else who would appreciate these as well and pass them on to them as a free gift. So then I guess one other bonus thing he did kind of add to me as we go into the LPs. He says this is a frame for your Let It Be box set to have the book inside. So I will soon add it to my Let It Be Canadian box set, and now it will have some structural integrity and a place to house the book. So thank you for that. It's kind of like a little foam core type piece there. So that was cool. And now we get on to the LPs, and I'm pretty excited about some of these pickups. And there's some very interesting stories behind a couple of them as well. So we're going to start off for whatever one's on top, and that'll be Beatles 6. And this one I didn't really know about until he sent some pictures of this from the record store. But as you can see, it looks just like a normal kind of Beatles 6, but it has a very interesting. I noticed the heading was a little bit different than your kind of standard stereo banner, and he was kind of telling me the story behind that. It was that they had a lot of mono slicks, and then as mono was kind of getting phased out, stereo became more popular. So this is actually a 1968 reissue of this album. So they used mono slicks from here down for the stereo covers, and they added this kind of unique, more interesting stereo banner compared to the original stereo banners. So I believe that's how it went. And as you can see by the record label here, that it is a later pressing. It has Canada and brackets on the rim label there as well. So we kind of knew it was a little bit of a later pressing than when this was originally released. Now I will probably still try to end up with a first pressing of Beatles 6, but when I saw the stereo banner that was pretty unique or different, I thought that's one I would like to have, even though it was a reissue. I thought it was pretty cool and pretty unique to Canada. And then this one was a little bit interesting. We kind of, me and Andre were kind of talking about this one after I received it, because this is Beatles Yesterday and Today. But I think, well, this is a U.S. cover, but it had a Canadian record inside. So I kind of asked him, it was like, do you think they ever exported any of the U.S. sleeves? He didn't think so. He was going to go check with the record store. We haven't really heard back from that story yet, but he was telling me that the White Album, they exported some sleeves initially. Unless these just record and cover got switched up, which very well could happen, and that's okay. I'll probably try to find another one here. But there is the label, and that is a Canadian label and record, but it does have a U.S. sleeve. I think it has a Los Angeles sleeve to it as well. And unfortunately, it was not a Butcher album either, because that would have been kind of funny. But yeah, interesting. If anyone has any more information about maybe if they exported some U.S. sleeves to Canada, please let me know. But the hunt for the original Yesterday and Today still might be on for that one. And then next up, we're going to have some Apple label records here. Starting off with a first pressing from Yellow Submarine. And this is an RCA pressing. Quick. And here is the back. Pretty standard Yellow Submarine. It does have the manufactured in Canada print there. And it also has the, I don't know if you're going to be able to tell. There it is, right there. Made in kind of, let's see what it says. Printed in Canada text there as well. So here is the Canadian Apple label. and the B-side. So there is Yellow Submarine. Always kind of fun to pick up. As you may know by now, Yellow Submarine movie was kind of the thing that started it all for me for Beatles and record collecting. So always happy to add another copy of Yellow Submarine. Okay, down to the final two LPs, and these are kind of some heavy hitters in the Canadian list for me. I'm super excited to have these in the collection. And we're going to start off with this one, because this is kind of like the classic Canadian record, at least to me, to like to hunt and track down. And that is the Beatles' Very Together. Also adding to the Paul is Dead hoax and all that kind of stuff, because they thought the candle that was burnt out was a sign that Paul actually died. And the back cover is not too too colorful there. And this is, I believe, it's a first pressing, because it does not credit the cover design at the bottom from what I've researched. I believe the second printing or pressing of it has the designer name of whoever designed the cover on it. But this one came out in 1969. This is pretty much just the early Beatles album, with all the Tony Sheridan stuff like that. So there is A side, and here is the B side. The record's a little bit beat up, but I said that is okay with me. I don't really necessarily have everything to be perfect. I just want it to be presentable in a good way and playable as well. So I don't necessarily have to save up to pay top dollar for a minty copy, unless it's way down the road later in my life. So that one was a very good one to knock off the list for me. I've been eyeing that one down before I was even started to collect some Canadian specific albums. And this one is also on the same line. Really was like, immediately when I saw this at the record store that he sent a picture of, I was like, yeah, definitely want to get that one, because this is Hey Jude. Not only Hey Jude, it has the hype sticker on it as well, adhered to the cover. So this, I guess, is technically Beatles again, but it includes Hey Jude, and I just really like that hype sticker. So there's the back. Pretty much everything is the same. This is the RCA press from 1970, and we'll take a look at the label. But the real reason I picked this up is definitely for the hype sticker. Very happy to pick that up. So that is the label. And I'll just show it one more time. And really excited to have that in the collection. And that is going to wrap up this big Canadian Beatles update. Again, thank you, Andre, for working with me, and I'm hoping you enjoy those 45s and LPs that I found for you at other record stores. So I hope that was a good trade, and I'll be more than happy to continue working with him in the future, whenever I find some more records for him. And if I save up a little money, I can try to get some of his duplicates in his collection as well. So the cat is now fallen asleep, so I'm guessing that means it is time to end the video. And from this great Canadian Beatles haul, and I'll see you hopefully the next time I get a lot of more Canadian records as well. But if a video comes up before then, I'll see you then.